Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2023 Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3, organized by the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, PSAG, Nigeria Cluster 5. We would also like to welcome all participants joining the masterclass on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. Thank you for joining. We're delighted to have you join us today at this special event. My name is Bumi Olatunde. I'm the director at the Programs Department of New Nigeria Foundation, and I'll be anchoring the opening ceremony and moderating the general session of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3. We would like everyone to introduce themselves on the chat box. Please write your name, your organization, and then you don't have to write your email. We don't need your email and your phone number. Please avoid putting your personal contacts, but we'll just like to know those who are joining us today, your name, your organization, and your location. This is the third edition of the annual virtual e-learning masterclass series designed by the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, Nigeria Cluster 5. The masterclass aims to disseminate agribusiness opportunities through seasoned professionals and industry experts to Nigerians interested in establishing agribusiness enterprises and having multiple streams of income. We would like to show a little presentation about the PSAG Cluster 5 before we go on. Okay, so while we wait for that presentation about PSAG, I'd like to welcome some people I'm seeing in the chat. Welcome Professor Demo Kala from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. You're welcome. Emmanuel Ani from Chariot Safety Services, Lagos, welcome. Adegoke Emmanuel from Oyo, you're welcome. I see people from Ogun State, Kano State, Osun State. I see even students. Welcome, everyone. So can we please have that presentation?
United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, PSAG, Nigeria Cluster 5. The PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5 is committed to achieving the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, inaugurated the PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5 in February 2017, comprising primarily private sector organizations and corporate foundations. Nigeria became the first UN member to inaugurate a local PSAG, mirroring the UN SDG Fund PSAG, i.e., PSAG Global, and other UN initiatives. The PSAG Nigeria works closely with the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, OSIP SDGs, and the UN to ensure that the global goals are achieved in Nigeria. The PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5, the driver of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass, covers agribusiness and the manufacturing sector. The cluster is focused on SDG 2, Zero Hunger, and SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. About the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, PSAG.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. I'm sure we have a bit of background information about the PSAG. We're glad that they're putting up this wonderful master class to build the capacity of many of our young people and many other people who might be interested in joining the agribusiness sector. Next, we would like to talk a little bit about the Business of Agriculture Masterclass. I'd like to share the slides. Thank you. The first edition of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass was held in July 2021. Please show the next slide. And the second edition held in September 2022, while the third edition held is now the one we're having now, which is in October, and it's starting from today till the 12th of October 2023, starting 9 a.m. on a daily. Next slide, please. We're glad to have over 4,000 people register for this masterclass, and we hope that many more will join in the course of the program. And feel free to invite your friends to join either on Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook. The 3-day masterclass aims to present opportunities in agriculture to current and aspiring agribusiness entrepreneurs and investments. And this year, we're privileged to have 15 professionals and industry experts facilitate different sessions of 8 value chains this year. The experts will show participants how to generate additional income streams while addressing Nigeria's food insecurity and unemployment issues. The 8 value chains of focus are agro-production, and this year we're going to be focusing on crop production and specifically vegetable farming. We're also going to be focusing on agri-technology. We're also going to be focusing on agri-production, animal husbandry, and in particular, poultry and piggery. And then we'll be looking at agro-logistics and market linkages. Next slide, please. And then nutrition and lifestyle, agro-processing and value addition, aquaculture, and agro-financing. The third edition of the masterclass is being implemented by New Nigeria Foundation. New Nigeria Foundation is a non-governmental organization that promotes sustainable community development through public-private partnership. Thank you, everyone. And so before we go on, we would like to, I'm going to be introducing our special guest very soon. But before then, I would like to give us some housekeeping information. Once again, this program is designed to ensure that the event runs smoothly and that we'll have an enjoyable and pleasurable experience while learning. For participants joining on Zoom, please keep in mind the following. For comments and contributions, please use the chat box. Emojis are also available for expressing reactions. Already, I see that a lot of people are doing their introductions. Yes, please, let's continue to do introductions as we join. And if you have questions, please ask your questions in the Q&A box. Avoid placing questions in the chat so that it does not get lost in the comments. So please, if you have your questions, please type them in the Q&A box. If you wish to speak during the Q&A session, please raise your hand. However, this might be a bit challenging because we also want to make sure that we're keeping to time. For our participants joining on YouTube and Facebook, please keep in mind the following. You can engage with us by using the comment section. You can share your comments as well, your contributions and questions, and we'll address them. You can also feel free to use the emojis to express your reactions. Once again, I'd like to request that we please avoid sharing personal contact information in these platforms. Remember that these are public platforms and we will not be liable to anything. We hope nothing like that happens. Thank you everyone for your cooperation. We will now take a short break, and when we return, we'll be commencing the opening ceremony and welcoming our special guest. Please stay tuned.
There's a story to be told, a future to be owned. There is more to who we are than what they see. We have love within our soul, fire in our bones. We've got everything it takes to make it. There's much more within our soul, more than just our own. We can grow.
Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor and privilege to introduce our distinguished special guest for this opening ceremony. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Yari, ably represented by Mrs. Esti Mahmood, Director, Nutrition and Food Safety. You're welcome, Ma. We're glad to have you. Please, let's clap, let's show some, you can use the emoji. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Be here.
Thank you. We would also like to say a very big welcome. Just a minute, please. We would also like to say a very big welcome to Her Excellency, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope Adefulire, who is ably represented by Dr. Bala Yusuf Yunusa, Senior Technical Advisor to the SSAP SDGs. We're truly honored to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. A very good morning, Bumi, and happy to be here.
We're glad to have you too, sir. Welcome. Allow me also to introduce the CEO, ABC Health, that's African Business Coalition for Health, and representative of the PSAG Nigeria Secretariat, Dr. Maurice Atoki. Is Dr. Maurice?
Thank you very much. I'm equally glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Akoti. We're glad to have you join us today. I'm also honored to introduce to us a very special person, the co-chair, PSAG Nigeria, Mrs. Ololade Johnson Ajiri. She's the head of Cooperative Affairs and Sustainability, West and Central Africa, British America Tobacco, and she's also the managing director or the executive director of BAT Foundation. Is she here with us?
Yeah, good morning. I'll be representing Ladi this morning. My name is Oludare Dusan, the general manager for the foundation. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Dario Dusaya. It's good to see you again. And then, of course, I'm honored to introduce to everyone a renowned emeritus professor, an expert and icon in the agricultural sector, and a passionate advocate of sustainable development, Professor Bafemi Ajibola. He is the managing director and the chief executive of New Nigeria Foundation, and an implementing partner of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3. We're honored to have you join us, sir.
Thank you, Bobby. You just made me an emeritus professor now.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So we're going to be starting with the welcome address by the co-chair PSAG Cluster, BATN Foundation, and Mr. Dare Odusoya, over to you.
All right, good morning once again. Good morning to everyone. Again, we'd like to appreciate the presence of everyone here, and also to thank everyone who has made it into this meeting. Our distinguished guests, from the Honorable Minister to the Office of the SSG, to, of course, PSAG being represented here as well, Dr. Maurice Atoki, thank you. To Prof also here, I just want to say good morning to everyone. So I'll be quickly just run through what we have to do. Unfortunately, due to some last minute itches, our executive director is not present, so I'll be making this speech on our behalf. So I want to say good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third edition of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass series, organized by the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, Cluster 5, to be precise. It's great delight and pleasure to be here before you today to explore the pathways that lead to a prosperous and sustainable future through agriculture as a business. Before I proceed, I'd like to extend gratitude to the members of the private sector, advisory group, our esteemed speakers and guests, and each one of you present here joining us today, and for the rest of the masterclass, of course, going through the next 3 days. Your presence speaks volume about your commitment to exploring the vast potentials that agriculture holds for economic growth, financial empowerment, and sustainable development. I am delighted to witness the convergence of minds and, of course, resources, all dedicated to one common goal: leveraging the business of agriculture for prosperity and for progress. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we stand at the threshold of an exciting endeavor, one that not only seeks to educate, but also to empower. This third edition of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass series, hosted by the United Nations Private, by the Private Sector Advisory Group, Cluster 5, co-chaired by the British American Tobacco Nigeria Foundation and, of course, Dangote Group, is a testament to our collective commitment to fostering prosperity through agriculture. With the steadfast support of the Office of the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, we are poised to unlock new horizons in agribusiness and financial independence, propelling us closer to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. The Private Sector Advisory Group was formed in April 2015, where a body of concerned organizations within the private sector, academia, NGOs, CBOs, converged together to work in conjunction with the public sector through the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs and Vice President, as it was clear that to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria, it could only be done through a concerted effort and partnership of multiple stakeholders. To ensure effectiveness and reach, the group was divided into clusters based on the different thematic goals of the SDGs. One such cluster was the agribusiness and manufacturing cluster, which has worked in partnership with other key stakeholders to deliver the Business of Agriculture Masterclass series, which, of course, we are kicking off today. The progression of this Masterclass series has been remarkable. Since its inception, the Private Sector Advisory Group, in collaboration with diverse stakeholders, has steered to create a platform that not only impacts knowledge, but also ignites passion. Through these efforts, we aim to raise awareness and competence in agricultural entrepreneurship, encouraging a societal shift towards recognizing the boundless opportunities within the agriculture sector. One session will provide background and build a case for investment in agriculture, and 8 other sessions dedicated to uncovering opportunities across several subsectors in the agricultural value chain. We recognize that the true test of the impact of this masterclass series is the testimonials and success stories that emerge from the landmark event, where the organized private and public sector, academia, NGOs converge with one single audacious goal of driving towards the achievement of the SDGs together as one. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, we hope this collaboration will set the standard beyond Nigeria of how to achieve sustainable development through collective partnership for development to ensure no one is left behind. I'd like to end by thanking once again our partners, distinguished guests, of course, our participants, and everyone who is joining, of course, in the name Business of Agriculture, to get one knowledge or the other that can help them have a multiplicity of income come reach to them. I'd like to say and end this way and say thank you to everyone once again. Thank you to our implementing partner, the New Nigerian Foundation. And we'll say God bless you and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I say a big amen to that. Thank you, Mr. Oludare Odusanya, representative of the co-chair PSAG Nigeria, Mrs. Ololade Johnson Ajiri, who is also the executive director, BATN Foundation. Thank you so much for that welcome address. You have emphasized the need to raise awareness and competence in agricultural enterprises. And you have also emphasized that the true test of the success of this program is everyone joining efforts in driving driving success towards the attainment of the SDGs. Thank you very much. Before I call on Professor Ajibola to give the opening remarks, and I apologize for that, I should have called him before calling Mr. Odusanya. I'd like to acknowledge some people I'm seeing on YouTube. Welcome, Mr. Egbeleye Michael from Abeokuta. You're welcome. Kayode Adeni from Ado Ekiti. Welcome, and several other people, Idris, Idris, you're welcome. I'm seeing several other people from different parts of Nigeria on Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll now call on the Executive Director, CEO of New Nigeria Foundation, Professor Obafemi Ajibola, to give the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Bumi, and thank you for calling Dari first, because he established a solid protocol on which I can just stand, so I don't have to repeat those things. But let me just say a big welcome to everybody. I welcome you to the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3.0, which is the third edition of the annual virtual e-learning Masterclass series. The Business of Agriculture Masterclass is designed by the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, Nigeria, Cluster 5, to disseminate agribusiness opportunities through seasoned professionals and industry experts to Nigerians interested in establishing agribusiness enterprises and having multiple streams of income. The agriculture sector, as we all know, is one of the key players in the Nigerian economy and the largest employer of labor in the country. As at February 2023, agriculture accounted for about 24% of Nigeria's GDP, almost 4 times higher than the contribution of the oil sector to the GDP. This sector presents numerous opportunities to Nigerians through the different value chains that it offers. Nigeria is said to have one of the largest population of youth in the whole world, with about 70% of the population under the age of 30 and a median age of about 18 years. According to the World Atlas data, almost 40 million Nigerians are between the ages of 15 and 24 years. Almost about 54% of the youth in Nigeria are regarded as being unemployed at the moment, according to the National Bureau of Statistics in 2022. And because of the issues that we have recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food insecurity in the country to help tackle food shortages and boost agricultural productivity. This challenge presents an opportunity for Nigerians to key into the various value chains existing in the agricultural sector to boost food security in the country. The Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3.0 will engage key experts to discuss the practice and opportunities existing in 8 agricultural value chains. And these value chains are crop production, which will include vegetable farming using hydroponics, agro-technology, nutrition and lifestyle, agro-logistics and market linkages, animal husbandry, which will include poultry and piggery, agro-financing, agro-processing and value addition, and aquaculture. The masterclass has engaged 15 industry experts to provide valuable insights into the practice and opportunities that abound in these value chains. It is gladdening to see that over 4,400 people registered for the masterclass, with a large proportion being youth. At the last count, about 60% of the people who have registered for this masterclass are below the age of 35. And this is really, really gladdening. It shows the commitment of young Nigerians to self-improvement and self-reliance. I enjoin you all to please attend all the 9 sessions taking place virtually on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. These sessions will deliver valuable knowledge that will help inform your decisions on venturing into agribusiness and providing income diversification opportunities. Once again, let me welcome you all to the 3-day program and wish you a value-adding experience and fruitful deliberations. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Another amen to that. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful opening remarks. Again, Professor Ajibola has emphasized to us the importance of turning the challenges confronting the agricultural sector into opportunities that young people and people who are aspiring to venture into the agribusiness can utilize. And he has also emphasized the importance of recognizing which of the ventures one would like to consider among the 8 value chains that will be presented during this session. And he has also encouraged participants to join all the sessions so that they can have an informed decision at the end of the day. Thank you very much, sir, for that presentation. Next, I'm excited to invite Her Excellency, Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope Adefulire, who is ably represented by Dr. Bala Yusuf Yunusa, Senior Technical Advisor to the SSAP SDGs, for her goodwill message. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bumi. Let me respectfully recognize the representative of the Honorable Minister of Agri, the leadership of the Private Sector Advisory Group, members of the faculty. Permit me to respectfully stand on the well-established protocol for this opening ceremony. Bring warm greetings from the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Excellency Princess Flure, who is and what has kindly asked me to represent her here and to deliver her opening, goodwill message. So I now read her text. It gives me great pleasure to be here with you today and to deliver this goodwill message at the opening ceremony of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3.0. Let me from the outset congratulate the leadership of the New Nigeria Foundation, as well as the Private Sector Advisory Group on SDGs for hosting this strategic masterclass at this crucial time in our national development. This is timely and suitable as we begin the second half of the implementation of the SDGs in Nigeria. I recall that the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development envisions a future that is economically sustainable, socially inclusive, and environmentally resilient. Through the framing of the 17 SDGs, 169 targets, and 230 key performance indicators. And taken together, the SDGs are a universal call to action to end extreme poverty, safeguard our planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity by the year 2030. Distinguished guests and participants, I am aware that this masterclass is in its 3rd year running, and it seeks to disseminate agribusiness opportunities through seasoned professionals and industry experts to support Nigerian youths interested in agribusiness enterprises and to increase livelihoods and incomes. Evidently, the cardinal objective of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass is aligned with the aspirations and intents of SDG 1 on reducing poverty, SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 3, 8 on decent jobs and economic growth, as well as SDG 10 on reduced inequalities. Indeed, in the last 7 years or so, we have worked closely with the federal ministries, departments, and agencies, the United Nations system, development partners, subnational governments, the organized private sector, of course, through the private sector advisory group on SDGs, as well as civil society groups to together operationalize the SDGs in Nigeria. Such strategic platforms demonstrate our collective commitment to the transformative promise of the 2030 Agenda. And as a government, we will continue to prioritize policies, programs, and initiatives in support of the achievement of the SDGs in Nigeria. And in line with our commitment to the implementation of the Nigeria Integrated National Financing Framework for Sustainable Development, we will strengthen our partnership with the organized private sector through the Private Sector Advisory Group on SDGs. Indeed, with the declaration of the state of emergency by the President of the Federal Republic on food insecurity, we have a task before us as state and non-state actors. Distinguished guests, participants, in line with the transformative promise of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, I would like to conclude this Goodwill message by reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to the successful implementation of the SDGs. I look forward to working closely with you all in this decade of action for the global goals so that no Nigerian is left behind. I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I wish you all a productive masterclass.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bala Yusuf Yunusa, representative of Her Excellency, Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope Adefulire. Thank you very much, sir. And we're glad that the government is committed. There's no doubt about it that the federal government of Nigeria has always been interested in agriculture. And we're happy you have emphasized in your presentation that the objectives of the masterclass aligns with the with 3 SDGs. And we have also emphasized government's commitment, through prioritizing policies and interventions that would that would assist in attaining the SDGs. And we have also, reminded us about the declaration of the federal government on food insecurity and the need for everyone to be a part of that drive to ensure that we get out of the hoods. And then, of course, you have urged everyone to embrace the program, and you have also promised government's commitment to towards this program and then towards attaining the SDGs. Thank you once again. We're very grateful, Dr. Bala. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's now time for the keynote address. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Honorable Minister for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Yari, ably represented by Mrs. Esti Mahmood, Director, Nutrition and Food Safety. Can you give her a round of applause? Let's see all the emojis. Just welcome her.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I stand on the already established protocol. My name, of course, is Sugra Mahmood, and I'm here to represent my Honorable Minister, His Excellency Senator Abba Kyari, CON. Please make the correction because I kept hearing Yari earlier. So whatever I say that you find palatable is from the Honorable Minister, and if I make any mistake, then please take it that it's from Sugra Mahmood. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be part of this program today to bring the goodwill message of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Abba Kyari, CON, at the opening ceremony of this enlightened 3-day training on agribusiness, generously supported by the British American Tobacco of Nigerian Foundation. The Honorable Minister is unfortunately absent, but because you know the situation we're in, he's really swamped with work trying to fix things and make sure that the declaration of emergency we have strategies that are going to work for us to take us out of that situation. So I bring the warm welcome, warm greetings of the Honorable Minister to all the distinguished guests, participants, experts, and partners who have joined us for this momentous occasion. So before I delve into the exciting journey ahead, let me extend my appreciation for the commendable work carried out by British American Tobacco Foundation Nigeria over the years. Since its establishment in 2002, it has been a stalwart supporter of agriculture in Nigeria. I'm aware that it has assisted 250 communities in development projects over the 36 states and FCT, and it has been instrumental to promoting modern agricultural practices among rural farmers and providing essential financial support to transition them from subsistence to commercial farming, a testament to why we're here today. So your commitment, BATF, to transforming Nigeria's agricultural landscape deserves our utmost recognition and applause. Now, let me take a moment to shed a light on them. And you're aware that recently we've rolled out the roadmap that will take us, we are hoping will take us out of the woods, and we want to socialize it with all of you so that you can join us to take Nigeria out of the woods that we find ourselves in. Now, we have looked at, the Honorable Minister has looked at the immediate short-term, medium-term, and long-term actions that the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is embarking on to address food and nutrition security while promoting agriculture as a thriving business. Mr. President has declared state of emergency on food and nutrition security as well as water security, and he has laid out the agenda for agriculture. And in line with that, we have categorized what we're going to do in terms of immediate action, short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And I would like to just give you a snapshot of what that will look like. So our most pressing actions revolve around preparing for the next dry season. As you are aware, we have food shortages, and the next season we're going into is dry season. So we want to ramp up production during that season and support farmers, smallholder farmers in particular, aggressively to be able to optimize this particular season. The actions have already started. Farmers are being supported with inputs to be able to go back to the farm and optimize their production. And we are also looking at having a summit, National Agricultural and Food Security Summit in November, where all stakeholders can come and we can sit down and crunch the numbers and find a solution that is workable for Nigeria, that will leave no man, woman, or child behind, and that will work for people, prosperity, and the planet. And the National Council for Agriculture and Food Security is also coming up, which is a meeting where the agenda for the nation in agriculture is usually set. So all the states and all the stakeholders usually participate. And this is something I would like you to be aware of. If you have a memo you want to forward at that, it's a time to do it. Then there are our mechanism for delivering fertilizers, agro-pesticides. We are also working on that to perfect it such that it will take care of the last mile delivery, so that every farmer can get at the right time to be able to optimize. Then in short-term priorities, we're looking at stakeholder mapping and analysis to be sure that whatever we're doing is evidence-based and it's going to address. It can help us to target our efforts in the right direction. Then we'll be investing in all the subsectors of agriculture, particularly crops, livestock, and fisheries, because a lot of our smallholder farmers are engaged in these things, and they are the target of most of our interventions. And we'll strengthen the agricultural institutions to be able to deliver, to be fit for a purpose and to deliver for our agricultural sector, such that it will be a very robust and viable sector, so that we can unlock that potential that we've been hearing all over the years that has been locked and trapped in suboptimal performance. Reforming the agricultural research system, also to be able to do demand-driven research that is speaking to industries and speaking to the market, and so on. And then for the medium term, we're looking at also leveraging digital and ICT to be able to push for extension service to reach different, of course, we're not saying only digital, but we're going to have a mixture, a blend that also leverages technology to be able to reach our farmers and bring them research findings that will help them optimize their operations. We're also looking at commercialization of agricultural mechanization and implements production. This, we cannot do agriculture, modern agriculture without mechanization, and it will really assist us in optimizing as well as improving efficiency and reducing drudgery, while also attracting the very people we're talking about today, who are the youth, because our current labor composition has to change. Young people have to come into the agri sector to be able to, for Nigeria to be able to feed itself, and also to meet that potential of exporting to the world, because we have everything that it takes. Soil fertility and soil information system is not left out. We're talking about how we can make sure that we have living soils that are not being degraded on a daily basis because of the wrong farming practices, and that will also inform the kind of inputs that farmers put inside the soil, and reduce also our cost on production, and make food much more nutritious, available, and affordable to everybody. Where I think we're looking at the big elephant in the room, which is the finances. We cannot also do it without. A lot of people talk about financing. Agriculture lending is really, really poor, and innovative options are being looked at to make sure that everybody that needs financing in the agriculture gets the right kind of financing and affordable financing to be able to do what they do best, which is the business of agriculture. Now, we're looking at also reviving secondary school farms, the Catch Them Young. Like I said, again, we're looking at young people today. And if we catch them young from the secondary school, instead of making agriculture something that looks like very, very unsavory occupation, we bring in the digital technologies, the technologies that will attract young people, the IoT and so on and so forth, to make sure that agriculture is attractive to young people, and we change that perception. We have in the ministry also the National Livestock Transformation Plan. A lot of us have heard about or have been victims, unfortunately, of the clashes between farmers and herders. And we have a transformation plan for the livestock sector that looks at a lot of non-kinetic approaches that will bring conflict resolution approaches that will bring about peace and equitable exploitation of resources between different types of farmers. And we're working with the state governments in this and the private sector to make sure that this works for us and we have peace and a functional agricultural sector. Long term, we're also looking at, before I get there, there is a National Food Systems Dashboard that the ministry has launched together with partners, supported by partners, which tells you the proportion of people in all the states. We also have a subnational one that can afford healthy diets. Ladies and gentlemen, nutrition is something, is at the base of our development, is the basis. If you don't get the adequate nutrition before you are 5, you are likely to be doomed for life. The ability to even critical think or to attain your genetic potentials will be compromised, and it is a permanent damage. So from our women of childbearing age to children under 5, we're looking at their nutrition. And one of the tools that the ministry has brought up is the National Food System Dashboard. I want you to connect with that dashboard. I'll be sharing a lot of this information after, that you can look at the data so that you can make informed decisions and know where to go, with your interventions, and also where to go with your business ideas. This is a system that gives you the number of people that can afford food or that cannot afford a healthy diet. It actually describes diagnosis and also gives you options of what to do. So it's a very, very veritable tool for us to be able to take decisions and make policies that work for transforming our food system. In the long term, the development of National Agricultural Database is ongoing, and it's something that all of you would like all of you to engage with us, to support us to be able to do this, because I've just talked about it. Without data, we're not going to get much out of. At best, what we do is guesstimate whether it's a business decision you're taking, or whether it is a policy issue that we're taking, is guesstimate. So database is of the utmost importance. We are going to have technology-enabled farms and farmers enumeration, and we'll be repositioning all our agricultural institutions to be able to key into all of this. So one other thing also that we'll be looking at long-term instituting and developing is the cold chain systems. We're going to talk about vegetables today. You know that it is the value chain. The horticultural value chain is one of the chains that has the highest post-harvest losses. And that means that wherever we invest as a country in those value chains, more than half of it is lost. We never get to get return on investment on that. So by simply touching on that, we can reverse, or we can improve our food and nutrition security. Also, cold chain is also very important for delivering safe food. These vegetables are very susceptible to loss, and that means bacterial infestation and also other pests that affect our health. So the issue of food safety also comes in here, and even the issue of marketing. For you to get to the farthest market, you need this cold chain. So we'll be looking at that on the long term to be able to reduce our post-harvest losses to the barest minimum. So I will share additional information, but in closing, I would like to say that our journey towards a prosperous agriculture and food security sector is anchored on trust, collaboration, capacity building, and innovation. We're excited to announce that I've already told you that the National Agriculture and Food Security Summit, scheduled for November this year, is coming up, and also the National Agriculture and Food Security Council, and would like you to partake in that. I would like to also call on all of you to join us, because government alone cannot do it. You've heard the representative of the SDG saying that government alone cannot do it, and it is quite so. So we would like to call on all of you to join us to transform our food systems so that it will work for people, prosperity, and the planet. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to all of you, for especially British American Tobacco Foundation, for putting this together, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. God bless all of you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, let's give her a round of applause. I can see a very active participants online, both on Zoom and YouTube and Facebook. Thank you all. I see all your comments. We're very grateful for your active participation. We would like to thank the representative of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, ably represented by Mrs. Mahmood. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you for showing us, opening our eyes to see other interventions being undertaken by the federal government. You've talked about the long and short, the short, medium, and long-term plans of government. You've talked about a lot of things that government is doing, the National Food System Dashboard, the demand-driven research, leveraging digital ICT, and so on. Indeed, all of this is geared towards ensuring a robust and viable agricultural sector. And of course, there's a lot of emphasis on strengthening food, nutrition, security, and water. Thank you very much once again for that brilliant presentation. And my apologies, that was a Goodwill message. So now it's time to listen to the keynote address. And I have no better person to do this than a distinguished guest who is the CEO, ABC Health, that is the African Business Coalition for Health. And she's also representing the PSAG Nigeria Secretariat, Dr. Morris Atoki. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you come on board and join us this morning. Please go ahead with your keynote address. Hello, Dr. Atoki. I don't know whether you're muted. Please, can we have a short break while we wait for her to join us? Okay. So we will take her session later. Unfortunately, she's not with us at the moment. I see a few questions already being popped up. We're going to be addressing the questions later on. We are short or running out of time, so we're going to be closing the opening ceremony in a short while. I encourage every one of us. I mean, it's been an inspiring start. We've had very informative presentations by our special guests. And as we transit into the heart of the program, I encourage all participants in the discussions to seize the opportunity to learn, connect, and collaborate. Together, we will explore new horizons and work towards a brighter future. Thank you, everyone. We would like to say a very big thank you to all our special guests. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your very busy schedule to join us this morning. We want to encourage you to continue to stay on with us, even if you will not be available for all the 3 days, but at least we'll be glad to see you pop in and out during the sessions. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful participants online, on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. We're going to be ending this opening ceremony, and then we're going to take a short break again before we get into the first session for the day. Oh, sorry, I need to call on, we'll take a short break, and then I'll call on Tosin Adebusui to give us an overview of the structure of the agribusiness masterclass before we go into the session of the day. So we'll just take a short break. Welcome back. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce to you the woman behind the scene, Ms. Tosin Adepusui. She's project manager, New Nigeria Foundation, and she's the one who has been in charge of this program. She's going to be talking about the structure of the business of agriculture masterclass. Welcome, Tosin. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Olatunde. While I wait for Emanuela to kindly share screen, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you to all speakers and the PSH team. I stand on all existing protocols. So for the business of agriculture masterclass, we're going to be having 15 industry experts, and would like to thank everyone that has registered, and also all our industry experts. I can see some of them are already here. We have Famakola Adeniji and Ms. Hadiza Yaro, whose session we'll be going into next. Because of our time, we'll just run through the sessions. So the Business of Agriculture Masterclass is a 3-day session. Today is the first day. We're on the opening ceremony, which we're about to wrap up. And next we'll go into the general session, which talks about the business of agriculture. We're going to be exploring different value chains, and our questions are very much welcome. After that, we'll take a break. And then at 12 noon today, we will come back and we'll be exploring farming fresh greens for your dreams, vegetable farming. And then would take another break. And then at 2 p.m. would have Innovate and Cultivate, where we'll be addressing tech opportunities in agriculture. And then tomorrow we'll start at 9 a.m. with the session on the business of nutrition and lifestyle. And at 11 a.m., so we'll take a 45 minutes break, harvest to markets, the business of agro-logistics and market linkages. And then in the afternoon at 1 p.m., be exploring the value chain of poultry and piggery. So I'm trying to rush up because we've exceeded our time for this session. And then on the third day, we're going to be starting with the business of agrofinancing, funds to farms. And everybody, loves money. Who doesn't? And so we're going to be seeing how we can invest in agriculture with agrofinance strategies. Afterwards, we'll take another break, and at 11 a.m. on day 3, we would have From Fields to Brands, where we're going to be talking about value addition and the business of agro-processing. And our final session for the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3.0 will be an ocean of opportunities. We're going to see how we can dive into the business of aquaculture. And then we will call it a wrap. So quickly, we would run into the general session. Please join, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. You can join on Facebook and YouTube. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channels, that's PSAG Nigeria, and Facebook page of PSAG Nigeria, so that when we start, just in case you forget, you'll see the pop-up on your notification and you'll be able to join. Thank you so much, and we wish you a lovely and exciting learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tosin. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you very much, Mrs. Mahmoud. We notice that you have shared a press briefing of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Is that agriculture? Yes. There's a document she has dropped on the chat box. So please, let's all look into that. She's also shared the link for the dashboard. So please, these are resources that are being shared by Mrs. Mahmoud. Thank you so much, the representative of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Let's all access the documents. I'm also very excited to Notice that we have even people join us all the way from Pakistan on Zoom. Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you for joining us. We're delighted to have you. We'll go straight to the next session, and that will be the introduction of the panelists. Please, could you share the slides? We're now starting the general session of the masterclass, and it's my pleasure to introduce to us two seasoned experts who will be talking to us about the business of agriculture. They're just going to be setting the tone. Oh, is Mrs. Atoke around before we move on? I don't think so yet, so we'll just go to the next session. But before then, I'll just set the tone. You know, I don't even know whether I need to say this already, because I'm sure most of the things I would say are things that have already been said by the special guest. So I'm just going to skip that and go straight to the introduction of the panel discussion of the panelists. We have joining us today, Farmer Kola Adeniji, the founder and managing director, Niji Group of Companies. And then we have Ms. Hadiza Yaro, country manager, East West Seed, Nigeria. You're welcome. So I'm going to take the first profile for Farmer Kola Adeniji. Farmer Kola Adeniji hails from Ogun State and was born in the mid-60s. He was educated as a mechanical technician, which he later applied to develop his interest in the fabrication of agricultural equipment. He worked with several multinationals such as UAC, Flour Mills, and Guinness PLC as engineering technician before setting up his own technical workshop in 1991. He is the founder and managing director of Niji Group of Companies, an agribusiness conglomerate, and also recognized as the single largest cassava farmer and processor in Nigeria. Mr. Niji is widely traveled and has won several notable domestic and international recognitions. You won't want to miss this session, so we would like to, it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome very warmly Farmer Kola Adeniji. Can we give him a round of applause? I see Professor Ajibola's hand is up. Would you like to unmute and say something, sir?
Sorry, it's a mistake.
Oh, okay, fantastic. All right, so then next, I have another distinguished panelist, a female, Ms. Hadiza Yaro, and I'd like to, please change the slide. I'd like to also warmly welcome her on board. Ms. Hadiza Yaro is the country manager for West Africa Seed Nigeria, an agronomist, marketer involved in market development, agribusiness, project management, analyzing economic performance of value chains, analyzing business ideas, brokering strategic planning, capitalization of experience, development of impact indicators, promotion of women and youth involvement in agribusiness clusters and value chain development. Ms. Yaro supports farmers and organizations to set up demonstration farms and expand businesses. She possesses business acumen and is involved in sales and marketing. She's involved in sales and marketing, customer engagement, forecasting, training on vegetable production, as well as training agro dealers and development of marketers. We're fortunate to have such diverse and knowledgeable panelists, and I would like to encourage everyone to please pay active attention, and then if you have questions, don't forget to put your questions in the Q&A. I've seen a lot of them already, and if you have comments, please put your comments in the chat box. Thank you very much. Before we start with the presentation from Ms. Hadiza, I would like our panelists to just give us one sentence opening opening remarks, if you wish. Farmer Kola Adeniji, good to see you again, sir. Can we have one sentence opening remarks from you?
Yeah, good morning, madam. When I got this invitation, I was happy because I know this is our country and we have to put the best to take our country out of unemployment and the insecurity we are. So we'll be able to create a lot of job opportunity through agribusiness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Farmer Adeniji. Mr. Diza.
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, thank you for having me. One thing I would like to say is the business of agriculture is high risk, and you really need to understand before you go into investment. If not, it will just be a repetition of the narratives where people have invested millions and billions of naira and nothing has come out of it. It's like just dropping your resources into a black hole. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that early warning. So it's high risk, everyone, you know, but it doesn't stop us from joining. I mean, every business has its own risk as well. So thank you very much. We'll take a quick presentation by Mr. Diza Yaro, and then we'll go straight into the discussions. Can we put up the slides, please? I would like to encourage the participants to please also share their experiences. You can also tell us one sentence about maybe sharing your experience in the agribusiness sector. If you're an aspiring agribusiness entrepreneur, please go ahead and share your experience in the chat. Just very short, one sentence introduction or one sentence experience. Thank you. Ms. Adiza, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. What I'll be presenting is, there are just few slides just to give us a better understanding of the agricultural space and for a better understanding so that we know where and where not to invest and when to invest. And if we're able to do that, it will help us to position ourselves to be able to achieve food security and nutrition. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is just an overview of the country, Nigeria, where we are. We have a very big population of over 200 million, GDP per capita income of about 2,409.59, land size of about 9,177 square kilometers. GDP in terms of USD is about 477.39 billion. Nigeria is a very big economy in Africa. Looking at Lagos alone, the GDP is bigger than Ghana and Kenya combined together. So speaking about Lagos alone, you know, it's huge, and Lagos is just a state in Nigeria. And then 70% of Nigerian work in the agricultural sector, which today we know we're talking about crops, we're talking about livestock, we're talking about fishery. So about 88% of the agricultural GDP is coming from crop production, 9 from livestock, and 2 from fishery. So, like I mentioned earlier, a big chunk of the Nigerian farmers that we have are smallholder farmers. So who is a smallholder farmer in Nigeria? We characterize smallholder farmers having about a hectare. Sometimes it can even be as low as half a hectare, but averagely about a hectare. And then 73% of smallholder farmers live below the poverty line of $2.5 per day. And then we know what that means. It's really low in terms of percentage. And of course, this has increased over the past 2 years. We know what the country is facing. We know where it pinches us. We know how our pockets get very dry. So smallholder farmers take advantage most at times, government projects, institutional interventions, programs that they can benefit from. Maybe there are cooperatives farmers try to join to really see what they can get out of it, because most farmers are really impoverished. So most farmers have bank accounts, like you would know, but they are very reluctant to take loan. Why? Because of high interest rate. So access to finance to smallholder farmers in Nigeria is a nightmare. So a typical wall of a smallholder farmer is that wall that has limited or no access to extension staff, with no access to knowledge. Innovation is also being hindered. Lack of awareness in the benefits of using improved agri-inputs. He's just in his world and he's there struggling. Poor access to quality input is yet another one. Low use of fertilizers. The fertilizers are not even enough, are not even available. And even when it's available, the question is it affordable? NPK 1515 goes for almost 30,000. So you can imagine what smallholder farmers go through. There is also high pressure for pests and diseases, struggling to see how he can fight this aside other challenges. The high use of farmer safe seeds, and we know we can't really get so much out of them. Farmer safe seeds is endowed with sometimes diseases transferred from one generation to another. Undeveloped credit system, little mechanization, we just see a little of it. Most of the cultivation we see is being done manually or with animal-drawn tractors, which of course, if we really want to feed a population of over 200 million mouths, then we have to go into mechanization. We see a lot of weak linkages in markets. There is no access to information. The markets are far from the farmers, the roads are bad, and then we can't really get the produce down to the markets. Next slide, please. Okay, so I tried to do a little analysis here so that we can see in depth the pestle analysis of a typical scenario where we have these smallholder farmers operating. In terms of the political environment, we see a lot of corruption. We see multiple taxation. We also see unstable government in terms of policy, not really having a particular government being bad, but then transition from one government to another comes with a lot of hiccups, a lot of uncertainty. Who is coming? What are the policies going to be? Will it favor my business or will I be out of business? So these are some of the political issues that really affect the business of agriculture. Let's talk about the economics. Forex, we know what Forex is now. There's also high inflation, low income of farmers. They hardly can get anything out of what they cultivate. There is also poor access to finance. The information is not there. Even if the information is there, are they able to cope with all the conditions? So these are all issues that the smallholder farmer is being confronted with. And then the level of education, of course, is really, really small. They are all struggling. In terms of the social environment, social change habit, the change habit is actually a very dynamic one that people resist change whenever you bring. So even if the government has a fantastic policy for the farmers, are the farmers willing to change? We've seen fantastic programs rolled out, but then to the smallholder farmers down there, it looks like a national cake that he should grab, and then he doesn't even go into business because he doesn't see that farming as a business, but as a way of life that he does. Seed recycling is a common practice amongst farmers, and this has not really improved the yields of farmers. There is low awareness to even maybe the government programs, policies, and what the farmers can benefit from. Then a lot of issues around rural-urban immigration and migration. And then people don't really want to sit there in the village because there is no light. The infrastructures are really horrible, and they are sometimes disconnected from urban areas where they can enjoy some of these social or facilities that is being made available. And recently, over the past few years, we have seen one of the social issues or challenges we are confronted with has to do with a lot of terrorism, kidnapping, herdsmen. So even the smallholder farmer out there in the bush or in the villages or areas that are not well developed, are being faced with some of these issues, so much more that the farmers are even scared to get to their farms. They don't want to be kidnapped or killed at the end of the day. So we see a lot of movement from the fringes of or outsketches of state capitals, moving to the state capital so that they don't fall into these traps. Looking at the technological environment, there is poor access to information and technologies that some of these farmers can get. And of course, the use of that technology, except maybe if they go into some kind of crowdfunding, they will be able to make maybe sense out of it. Furthermore, looking at the legal environment, there's a poor legal system or probably implementation of some of those fantastic policies that we have in place. And of course, people who are into businesses will tell you, oh, I've had issues of maybe piracy, counterfeiting of brand, claiming of brands. But even when you take these issues to the legal institutions, you find out that little or nothing is being done, that it will just be a waste of effort trying to like put things into proper perspectives. Then the last one has to do with that environment where the farmer is operating. A lot of stories around climate change, a lot of workshops, a lot of programs to implement. But what I think the reality is climate change is for real and the farmers really feel it. And sometimes when you discuss with old farmers, you will get information, oh, 50 years ago, the raining pattern is not like this, or the temperatures are not like this. So the farmer, the smallholder farmer needs to live with, aside the issues around pests and diseases challenges, which sometimes you have issues around buildup of resistances. Not just that, even the chemicals to use might not even be available. If it's available, is it affordable? Is it just the generic the farmer is using, or he has to go for R&D products? So some of these challenges are there. Aside that, we have also seasonality of crops, where you can see there is no proper infrastructure in place to help farmers address issues around post-harvest losses. Just go to Benue in the peak season where oranges are being harvested. You see heaps and heaps of oranges going waste with no company to process, with nowhere for the farmers to take their produce. Same with tomato. In the peak of the tomato season, a lot of tomato go waste. And then you discover the farmers are at the receiving end. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so with all these challenges are actually highlighted and discussed, one will begin to wonder, is agriculture actually an engine of growth? So I think this is the question I want to leave us with. But then before I go into some other success stories, because if you listen to me, you think that nobody is doing agriculture in Nigeria, or it's impossible to do agriculture in Nigeria, or there are no star farmers or people we can showcase as what? A success story. But then let's ask ourselves this basic question: is agriculture an engine of growth? Because food production has not kept pace with the growing population, limited land sizes, limited increase in value addition, like I mentioned, with food going waste, a lot of post-harvest losses is being incurred, poor infrastructures and isolated farmers. From inputs to market, that connection is not really there. It's just a weak linkage we see between the input market, the farmers, the markets, the processing companies, right? Then, of course, over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture. There are farmers out there that if it's not raining season, he doesn't care, he doesn't farm, he doesn't think outside the box. What will he do? So he can work for just like 6 months, the other 6 months he's relaxing, but he needs to make money. So what's happening to our irrigation system? What's happening to off-season production? So these are big challenges in the agricultural sector, which just about 7% of our lands are irrigable. So we're speaking about women and youth, and of course, everybody would attest that there is a high youth unemployment in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Okay. There's light at the end of the tunnel, I feel, because I have a success story to share with us of a farmer, a lady farmer named Mrs. Folake Ayuba, who resides in Ogun State. She's a school teacher, but I think farming has become a way of, not just a way of life, but as a business to her. And this is her story, the story of the cucumber, where she planted about 17,000 plants, and her yield was so good that she obtained about 1,032 bags. That is equivalent to about 51 tons, because each bag weighs about 50 kilos. And this story we picked sometimes in 2020 during the COVID period, where people don't go out, and of course, some places of work have actually severed a lot of workforce. Some have actually cut down the payment times with their workers. So at that period, she ventured into farming, and she actually invested about 700,000. And at the end of the day, if you do the calculation, she said she got over 4 million naira, and the return on investment is 470%. And this is realized in a period of 3 months. So if I see this, will I really bother myself as a youth to look for a job? I don't think so. If I can get this much within the period of 3 months, if you know your onion very well. Thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Adiza Yaro, for this wonderful presentation and the insights you've given to us. Thank you for sharing your success story as well as your challenges. You can see a lot of people are clapping for you on Zoom, on Facebook, on internet. By the way, I'd like to also say a big thank you to all our Facebook participants. We have about 33 people joining us on Facebook, 94 on YouTube, and we have 188 on Zoom. Thank you, everyone. On everyone, we're all being engaged. I can see a lot of information and interaction going on the various comment platforms. Thank you very much. Thank you. I would like to, just say one or two things. I saw some comments when you were talking about the risk of agriculture. I know that Mrs. Mahmood made a comment and some other people. I just wanted to share their thoughts with us. I hope. Well, somebody said, I'm into poultry and fishing, and the cost of feed is the major problem that kills business. So that's, I think, Olua Dolapo from Lagos is the one sharing that experience with us. Someone says he's a greenhouse expert installer. Just a second, please. And then, someone was asking us to share the documents on YouTube and Facebook. So we're going to do that. All the documents that were shared by Mrs. Mahmood, we will definitely put them on Facebook and YouTube as well. Okay, so while I try to look for the comments, I will just want us to go straight to the question for Famaniji. We would like you to share your journey into agriculture. Everybody knows, or maybe people don't know, but you're one of the biggest cassava, if not the biggest, one of the biggest cassava agripreneur in Nigeria. And definitely you have a wealth of experience to share with us. So what informed your choice of that value chain? And what advice do you have for young people who do not even know where to start? This time we're talking about 8 value chains. So at the end of it, how would they make that informed choice? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, madam. I think my journey to agriculture started like almost 32 years ago, when I was thinking that, is farming really a business? Yes. But I realized that people are not doing it as a business in Nigeria and Africa. So I decided to say, okay, I want to go into farming and I want to do it right. So I will most of my discussion today is going to be like an interactive session but I really need to talk about the farming themselves. Who are the farmers? So when you say I'm a farmer, which aspect of farming are you into? Farming is into different sections. You have a different service provider. So now we don't really call people farmer again, we call them service provider. You have to pick a particular service along the value chain, and that's what you are going to specialize on. You cannot be a farmer and you are doing almost 10 different operations in the farm. That's why you see a lot of farms that are not being productive. You cannot be the one doing the land preparation, doing the land clearing, doing the planting, doing the weed managing, and doing the harvesting and logistics, and still be the one to look for the market for it. So that's why we're getting it wrong. Then basically a lot of people, they depend on refer system and they don't really have the market. So if you want to be a real farmer, you need to have market before you grow. We call it demand driven. So farming need to work towards a kind of demand driven. If you have a demand, then you can grow. But when you want to grow, you have a EOP, the cost that is going to guide you on the amount of money you are going to spend on 1 hectare of land before you now multiply 10 hectares of land. A lot of farmers, they don't do that. Firstly, they depend on refer system. So when the rainfall, a lot of people grow because the land is clear. Then secondly, even the viability of the seed they grow, they don't even verify it. So most of the seed in Nigeria, I'm sorry, there are no seeds. A lot of people just go into seed business because they want to make money. So for us to get into that level, you have to know the viability of the seed you are growing or you are planting. Very important. Then you need to talk about the number of acreage. What is the size of number of acreage you can have before you can call yourself a farmer? Is it 1 hectare? Is it 2 hectares? Is it 3 hectares? So those are the things you need to know before you can say you want to be a farmer and say, okay, I want to get it right. So those are all those things you need to put in place, and you need to specialize on one aspect of service provider before you can say, yes, I'm a farmer. Very, very important. So when you look at a cassava business, I decided to choose cassava because it's one of the crops that almost every part of the system are useful. The leaf is very, very rich in protein. People use it for vegetables. Apart from vegetables, people use it even when you are compounding feed for animal feed. It's a sort of protein. That's number one. For the seed, after planting once, you don't need to buy any other seed again. You need to cut and plant. Then third, you may not need to use fertilizer when you are planting cassava. So you can plant cassava without using fertilizer. And fourth, when you are planting cassava, you don't need any form of irrigations. You don't need it, any form of irrigation. You plant cassava, then it is drought resistant. It can stay almost 3 to 4 months without rain. So when you look at the value chain around cassava again, is massive. So you look at, you can get cassava flour, cassava starch, you can get gari, you can get fufu, you can get animal feed. So you get a lot of things from cassava. And cassava, the reason I choose cassava is that it's one of the crops that can really provide employment. When you look at other crops we have in Nigeria, there's no one that gives you an employment like a cassava. Cassava, you can work on cassava throughout the year. You can start harvesting from January to December. That's why you see people have gari, you have a different type of product from cassava. So when you look at it, and there's no time you can plant cassava since so far you have rain. So you keep on planting your cassava. On my farm, I try to separate different operations. The people are managing the weed, they're different. The people are doing the land clearing, they're different. So when you do a particular operations every day for almost 1 year, you become perfect and you become an expert on it. So in that case, nobody tells you what to do again. So the system can actually run itself. We call it auto run. So those are the system. So, and when you look at farming in Africa, we are not there yet. People are going to farming because they don't have work and because they don't have what to do. That's one the kind of farming. And I've seen a lot of people that love farming even within and outside Nigeria. I've traveled all over most of the notable countries in the world, and I've looked at the way the farming is being done. For us to get it to that level, at least we still have a lot of things to be done. Not the way we are working on it now. If truly we want to do farming as a business. So when you look at the unemployment problem we're having in the country, I think because a lot of people left what they're supposed to do first and they are doing what they're not supposed to do. And most of the youth, they like free money. They don't want to work before they earn money. And that's part of the problem we're having in Nigeria. So for my own farm, I add value to everything I produce on the farm. So there's nothing I produce on the farm that I don't process. So I do from farm to table. So that's what I do. And we have a system that trains people on different value chain. We have a training school, we have a starch line, we have a flour line, we have a gari line, we have odorless full line. So everything we are talking about cassava, we have it. We even set up another feed mill now that we're going to be using some of the pills we are getting from the farm. So I would not like to talk much, but when you look at the farm and the banking system, so our banking system are not really designed for farming. So when you look at the rates of how they borrow money, is a little bit not farming friendly. So I will stop here because I don't want to talk much. If I keep on talking, and I think the day will break. So thank you.
I know, yes, and we don't have all that time. Thank you so much, Farmer Kola Deniji, for you have mentioned very cogent points, and I'm sure the people are taking note of that. There are 2 comments on the chat box, that I would like you to also speak to. You may not have, I don't know whether you have any experience or knowledge of catfish, of the catfish value chain, but at least I know from your experience, you can speak to some of these challenges. Gio, one of the Zoom participants, said, I lost all my NYSC savings on catfish breeding. Till now, I have not been able to go back. Am I giving up? No. Big ups. And then he said, I don't know whether it's a he or a she, said, every business comes with a risk. You just have to understand and manage it. You are made for life if you get it right in agriculture. This is why I'm here to get it right. And then somebody else, Nuru Tajuddin, one of our Facebook participants, said, who is also into catfish, says his challenge is how to go about exporting, how to go into exportation, and how to make enough profit. So I don't know whether you can speak to those 2 comments before I move on to Ms. Hadiza.
Okay. A lot of people assume knowledge. I would say in farming, you don't assume knowledge. You need to make an informed start. So you need to understand the dynamics of what you are trying to do. So for catfish, it's a little bit risky. So because when you even feed a catfish more than a number of days, you start making losses. So if you are to grow catfish for almost 60 days for table size, so you have to do that. Then when you are growing catfish, you have to have a smoker, fish smoker. So immediately they do the sorting and you look at the other one, you start sorting them and start smoking them. So when you smoke them, you can preserve them for another 6 months to even 1 year. That's one thing. Then for the other guy that was saying about the exportation, in the past, we used to export a lot of things. But that's part of what Nigeria needs to do. We need to do standardization. We need to standardize who is in charge of who, and we need to put the right people in the right places. So for the fish, you can smoke, you can export. But lately, they banned fish exportation because a lot of people smoke fish with different kind of tires, charcoal, wood, and no, it's not that. You need to have a proper fish smoker, and you need to have a moisture content that you can actually smoke at a moisture content that you can preserve your fish. So if you do that, and it takes your fish that does not really have any influx of any chemical or any property that can be dangerous or cancerous to eat, then you can export. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that feedback. I'm now going to turn it over to Ms. Hadiza Yaro. But before I call on you, before I ask you your question, I'd like to also refer to 2 comments I see here. It says, I'm aspiring to join agribusiness, still in the learning and knowledge acquisition phase. So you're definitely in the right place. I'm sure you'll go away with some useful tips here. And then someone said, agribusiness is with high risk that make me burn my fingers. We need to do our research before we go into the business. Definitely. And I'm sure even from the presentation made by Mrs. Mahmoud, research is very critical. Okay, so I'll go over to Ms. Hadiza Yaro. This time around, I want you to wear the lens of a woman. So my question is gender related. You've done a lot of work in the rural communities and you promote women and youth participation in the agri sector. So what would you, just tell us a bit about that experience for you. What are the challenges that women and youth face and how have you been able to support them to overcome those challenges? And what advice do you have for our participants? As you can see from some of the questions, there are lots of people who are online who have not started, some have started and they're going through challenges. So how would you advise them?
Okay, thank you for that question. Looking at past experiences in terms of gender inclusion, especially in terms of maybe the production, you see it's being said that the women are the invisible hands in agriculture where you don't really see them visible, but if you check at the background, they do a lot of menial job at the background in terms of processing, in terms of maybe transplanting or seeding the seeds. A bit of change I've seen in the space today because like I'll always say, hunger does not know religion. It doesn't know gender. It doesn't know if you're a kid or you're an old man. Hunger is hunger. And with the way things are going, everyone is running around the street hungry and everybody is looking for an opportunity to jump at. We've had programs in Sokoto, in Kano, in Kaduna, in Abuja, where we've trained women to go into home gardening because I deal basically with vegetables. And you will notice that with vegetables, you don't even need to go out if you have issues around religion or cultural prohibition that doesn't allow you to go out there to mix up. But little by little, we see women involving themselves in the production aspect of agriculture, where they grow leafy vegetables, they grow tomato, pepper, onion right in the backyard, especially now, where we see a new trend where people plant in pots, in bags, in little spaces in their homes, just to ensure that they don't just plant flowers, but they plant things they can eat, and that has actually improved nutrition and food security at the end of the day. And I think it's always an interesting topic for NGOs to also look into, because I know I've worked with a few NGOs that are actually promoting women inclusion, teaching them how to produce. So one of the challenges I've seen over time has to do with, one, the capital to start, because most of them don't have the capital to start. Another big one, which is even if you have the capital, the knowledge gap, the technical know-how is not there. So we have tried to teach, train, set up demonstrations for women, youth to see, and we have seen a lot of adoption. If you go to the fields in Kaduna and Kano, people had the notion tomato cannot grow in the wet season, but we've clearly demonstrated with the right varieties, with the knowledge, I don't think there's an impossibility or there's a barrier to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done again. You know, it's always good to know that there are people encouraging and supporting women and youth, even in this very difficult terrain. Thank you. Now I have quite a number. I'm going to jump into the question and answer segment because we have limited time. I'm conscious of our time. I'm going to be asking Farmer Niji a few questions. There are a few people who are into agriculture already. Someone on Facebook says, I'm a Unilag final year student looking for information on charting a roadmap into agriculture from a clean slate perspective. That's why I'm here. Then somebody said, if you apply fertilizer in your cassava farm, what will be the effect? Farmer Lydia, I hope you're listening. The questions are related, so I'll just put them together. Then someone from Facebook said, I'm an agric student of OAU, and I have the intention of going into cassava cultivation. Which varieties of cassava is the best for planting from your experience? So maybe I should allow you to take these questions. Let me add this one more from Facebook. I'm an aspiring farmer, and I would like to go into plantain farming. How is the market in Nigeria? Is it advisable to go into the business? So I know there's so many, so I'll just allow Farmer Niji to respond to those questions.
Yeah, thank you. About the variety of cassava, we have different varieties, but depends on the product you want to process. So that's what inform the kind of varieties you are going to grow. Or depends on the market you want to sell your cassava. You know, I told you that if you don't have the market, don't farm. Don't go to farm if you don't have the market. If you don't have an optical, don't do it. So it depends on the market, then it determines the kind of variety of cassava you can grow. That's my one. Then for the person in charge of plantain is a good business because you can get plantain flour, plantain chips. You can even do plantain fufu. So it depends on the location where you are. Depends on the location where you want to do your plantain. So, and what kind of a value chain you want to add to plantain. That's number one. But then when you are setting up your plantain farm, must be in a place whereby you don't you have a lot of plantain around, because plantain is a lot of sensitive products or plants that anytime you fruit like this, like almost 10 or 20 of you are looking at the same fruit. Anytime you are not there, they block it. So you have to be very careful about the location of setting up your plantain farm. Then for the fertilizer, majorly cassava don't really need the fertilizer if the land is not overused, because when you consider the cost of fertilizer application plus the yield you are getting, you may not. So best thing you can do is to do crop rotation. Just leave the land to value for a while and you come back there. It's more easier. If you do fertilizer, it's still okay. But when you look at the cost of the amount of what the fertilizer is saying now, and you still want to use it on cassava, I think it does not worth it. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Farmer Niji. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hadiza. I don't know whether you'll be able to, I mean, these are questions, so you can please speak to them. Good. Okay, well, these are questions related to fertilizer. Let me ask, what can we, okay, well, somebody asked about internship programs. That are there internship opportunities in agribusiness? You know, so both Ms. Hadiza and Farmer Niji can speak to that. Maybe I should just allow both of you to speak to that before I just go on. You can just quickly give information. I think that's very important.
Yeah. We do an internship in cassava. Sorry, in agribusiness. Just not only cassava, agribusiness, both the processing, both the mechanization and everything. So we do, and we ask people just to put in. We have a Niji of sustainable agriculture, which is nicer, that will help people to actually able to unravel whatever problem they are having, and if they need to make a kind of training for 6 months or 1 year, so for them to be able to go into proper agribusiness. So we do. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Same with East West. At East West State, we take interns, but there's a limited number, both students on attachment as well as graduates. And sometimes some of the interns we even take are graduates who at the end of the day are actually doing nothing. So what we do is we try to bring them in, teach them, and if there's any job opportunities, always very easy for us to start with them than actually to advertise the post outside. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a direct question to you from Niji. Please, do you produce pupuru? I don't know what that is, but
yeah, we are one of the best fufu. Fufu we even export a lot, so we have odorless fufu. What we try,
pupuru.
Pupuru and fufu, they are the same thing.
Oh, fantastic!
But in Ondo, they call it pupuru, but this part of this we call it fufu. But all are fermentation flour, but depends on the way you ferment it. Yes, we do. Thank you. We call it odorless fufu. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to be rounding up soon because I'm told that Mrs. Atoki is back online. We will have to take her presentation before we end this session, but I'll just take a few more questions before we go. Someone is asking, where can one get proper training in agriculture at minimal cost? Is it possible to secure a big farm with fence? Can I engage in both crop and livestock farming? Can one engage in greenhouse farming on an acre of land? So all of those. Maybe yes. I don't know who wants to take that. Yes, please.
Let me take it. Yes, you can get the proper training on agribusiness or agriculture. Yes. If you want to engage on both farming and animal husbandry and poultry, you can do it together. We even ask that you do it as a supportive business. When you are farming, you must have something to support your farming. And when you are farming, you have a lot of waste from the farm that you can give to your poultry or your animal husbandry to eat. It's a good business. So when you are setting up a kind of a greenhouse farm, you can do it on 1 acre of land, is okay. But you have to do it in an area whereby you have, you can irrigate and you have good enough water to do that during the dry season. So thank you.
Okay, Famaniji, can you train, that's a direct question to you as well. Can you train people and where is your location? I reside in Abeokuta, Ogun State.
Yeah, we train people. We have one in Ibadan and we have one in Ilero. That's why our farm is. We call it the Nijinso of Sustainable Agriculture. So we do a sustainable system of farming. So if we apply, we train, and we equally take some graduate trainees. Some of the graduates, we put them on 6 months to 1 year, so on training. So in that case, we'll be able to give them a kind of stipend for the serious-minded one. Anyone that is not serious, when we evaluate you, we send you back. But if we evaluate you and you really want to do agriculture, then we take you and we can even give you a job after the training. So thank you.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over. Thank you very much, Fawaniji. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Diza now, and I'm going to be wrapping up very soon. I want to go into crop farming, especially veggies, but I need adequate knowledge. Though I'm based in Lagos, but would have the farm outside Lagos. Any advice? And then I'll just add that to people are asking for certificates. Certificate of attendance. Then say, Madam Hadiza, thank you for the light, for throwing more lights at the end of the tunnel. It was a major motivation for me during the pandemic. I'm a product of your internship. Oh, wow, okay. I'm a product of your internship in 2020, where you turned me from an unemployed youth to the youngest commercial farmer in Mangu local government of Plateau State. You must be excited to hear that. So I'll ask you, this is another question. How can one use agripreneurship model as tool for engaging secondary school students in agribusiness? I really need a guide on this journey because I'm an agripreneurship advocate for schools in communities, for schools and in communities in the Gambia. So this is Mustafa Kanaje joining us from Gambia asking that question. Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa Kanaje. So over to you, Ms. Hadiza.
Okay, thank you for the questions you've thrown. To start with the participant who is in Lagos and he's speaking about he wants to venture into agribusiness, vegetable production, and as well as have a farm outside Lagos, if that is a possibility. I think that is a possibility, but of course, one thing with farming, you really need to be on ground to really get it. right with frequent monitoring, especially vegetables. They are not just like the 3 crops that you can live for several days, several weeks maybe without really checking on them. Then interestingly, the earlier question where somebody was asking, where can I get training at a minimal cost? I was smiling because at East West Seed, we train for free. I tell you, we are doing a lot, but of course, if you don't have that information, you really cannot key in. Every season from the north to the south to the east to the west of Nigeria, we run nothing less than 300 demonstration sites with farmers. So for such trainings, you can key into, once you contact us and we are able to understand where you are, we can actually relate you because we have field staff. Aside from what East West Seed Nigeria is, we also have a foundation working in Kaduna and Kano, which we call the East West Seed Knowledge Transfer. We are disseminating knowledge for free. If you go into the fields, you'll see a lot of technology that East West Seed has brought to teach the farmers, as simple as trellising, using of organic mulch, knowing the right time to put the fertilizer, when to spray, and things like that for free. And recently, if you are on tap with us on Facebook or on our WhatsApp pages, you would see that we had an intensive training for farm managers and farmers, as well as a seed fair in 2 locations in Nigeria, one in the north in Samaru Zaria, and then another one at Epe. So if you can just keep tap with us, I think there are a lot of opportunities you can tap in for free, because we give knowledge for free and we do a lot of after sales services. Sometimes you don't have to literally have a staff coming to your farm, but with a lot of engagement online, a lot of advices online, a lot of documents for you to read and practicalize, I think it's possible. Then for even the schools, we've rolled out in past years, where we have worked with some schools, having the school gardening. We've worked with Greenfield University. We've worked with the Great Panav in Kaduna, where we try to teach students to have school gardening. And of course, recently we've started also advocating that not just school, not just homes, we also are talking about office gardening, where people in the office can consume fresh vegetables right behind the office. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your responses. Well, I have 2 questions here for you, Mr. Diza. How do you ensure the safety of staff working in remote areas where these farms are sited? And then, well, they're also inviting you to come to Lagos. And then they're asking for the contact details of, both Ms. Adiza and Mr. Niji. So I don't know whether you'll be willing to drop at least your email. We don't want to put out personal details out there, but if the email. Sorry, if there are emails or website addresses that you want to put out there where people can reach out to you. So over to you, Ms. Adiza.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm already in Lagos because we have a staff working in Lagos for East West Seed. We have a very dynamic network, like I mentioned. So just get in touch with us. I've earlier on dropped my contact. I'm a marketer, I'm a salesperson. I don't mind you get in touch with me directly. Of course, the question on how do we ensure staff safety, we do a lot of community engagement with village chiefs, with key farmers. And of course, if there's any insecurity, we get alert or we get caution from them. And of course, we don't push staff to red areas. We have to evaluate, we have to do some security checks before staff go to the field. But of course, like we know, insecurity, I'll always say, is everywhere. You can be in your bedroom and you're being picked up. If we're Christians, we're Muslim, pray to your God that you don't fall a victim. But it's good to be security conscious, but it's not all about going to the demos and having the staff there. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to be asking the last questions, after which I'll be asking for your final thoughts, before we end this session. So I'm going to be asking both Famaniji and Ms. Adiza. Well, I'm going to be talking about sustainability. You have both been in the business for a while. How have you been able to sustain your agribusiness despite the economic situation, particularly post-COVID? And what advice do you have for those who don't even have more money, they don't have the resources, they want to start and they do not have the resources? What advice do you have for them? So I'm going to start with Famaniji.
Yeah, thank you. We have what we call Institute of Sustainable Agriculture. That's one of the watchword that will train people on sustainability. Then when you want to do farming, you need to think of diversification, number one. Then when you want to do farming, you need to think of cost reduction. Where and how can you reduce your overhead? So most of the problem farmers has is overhead. They incur a lot of unnecessary overhead, burdens and everything that eats all their profits. So if you're able to reduce unnecessary overhead, cost saving, then you are in business. Then the project or your business is going to be sustainable. And once you make it in one aspect of business, you have to diversify. But usually people, they're in business, they make little money, they tie the capital down, either buying land or buy a house instead of investing the money back to the business. Most of the things we do is we reinvest our money back into the business to make it sustainable. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I ask Ms. Hadiza to respond to that question, I'd like to encourage other experts on this call, if you're online or you're watching via Zoom or Facebook, to please kindly assist us in responding to some of the questions and comments that participants are asking, because as you can tell, we have limited time, we've overshot our time already. So please just respond to them as you're seeing training opportunities, internship, and things like that. Please, on the chat box, please respond and make suggestions to them. Thank you. Ms. Hadiza, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Quickly, I know time is not on our side. My advice is farmers should start small. Most of the times you get very big proposals, people want to invest, but I'll always advise start small, know your onion very well, make all the mistakes in small plots or small sizes or small number of animals that you have. And once you're able to establish that is a good business venture, then you can actually expand. And of course, the question on the person doesn't have money and he wants to go into business. I remember it's being said that if wishes were horses, beggars will ride on. Money is very important in any business venture you want to start, because without money, you really cannot start a business. It's just like I buy a car and because fuel is expensive, I wouldn't want to fuel my car, then I go nowhere. So if you have a business or you are aspiring to have a business, certainly you should be able to have money to fuel your business. Then talking about farming, about sustainability. I think the most important component of sustainability, like we had mentioned earlier, is reinvesting. Sometimes you see people start a business, but they're not willing to reinvest or kind of expand. So if you need to have your business to have that sustainability component, you need a very clear roadmap on how your growth will be. And a lot of time people don't forecast. You don't really forecast to say, okay, where will I be in 5 years? Where will I be in 10 years? Because if you do that, it means already you have made a deliberate attempt, or you have consciously spoken to yourself to have some element of sustainability. If I want sustainability, I wouldn't just think 1 year, 2 years, and I'm out of business. But you should look at the bigger picture. In the next 10 years, where do you want to be? And once you're clear on where you want to be, then you should already know where you want to play and where you want to win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your feedback, for Famaniji and Ms. Hadiza. I'm tempted to add one more because it's related to what you have just said. In terms of resources, this is from Facebook. How much would you say is the least capital needed to start? So can you just quickly take that, and then I'll take your last thoughts for the day. I know there are many questions also on Zoom and Facebook. Please, I would encourage all our experts to please respond to the comments on Facebook. All of us are now facilitators and panelists. Please respond, provide answers to all our wonderful potential agripreneurs who are asking several questions that we might not be able to take. Over to you,
can I go on?
Yes, please, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, fine. The question on how much you need to start is, for me, is like a vague question because I really don't know what the person wants to go into: fishery, livestock, crop production. But I think when you interface with experts in the field, maybe beyond the scope of this meeting, you should be able to have a bigger picture. This is for livestock, this is for fishery, and that is for crop production. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Famaniji, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. Regarding the investment cost, depends on the kind of investment you want to do. And depending on the amount of money you have in your hand, that one will determine what kind of level of involvement you want to do. And you can do, if you want to do processing and you don't have the own money, you can do pre-processing, or you can do farm gate processing. So I just have a grater and presser, then you can move to the next level. If you want to do mechanization and you want to serve as a service provider, if you only have money to buy a knapsack sprayer and you want to be rendering services. So it depends on the area of involvement and your passion on your investments. Normally, what we ask people is that you need to turn your hobby or your passion to money-making venture. If you like rearing goats when you are small, so the best thing for you is to now you know exactly what you are doing. If you like maybe like growing grass and flower around your house, you should know that it's vegetable that you can actually call. So it depends on the area and the level of investment that will determine exactly what you are doing. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Farmer Niji. So I'm going to be asking for our last comments. I want to apologize to all our participants. I mean, this is the much questions we can take. There are other sessions that we have scheduled for the day. I see a lot of exciting and interesting comments. Thank you all for your wonderful comments. By the way, I have been informed that unfortunately there are no certificates for this session. So please bear with us, please. I'm going to ask you for your last comments. Famaniji, please give us your last comments before I turn it over to Ms. Hadiza.
Yeah, thank you, my sister. Farming is an unusual business, so you need to know. So it's not a business that you can just go into because you want to do farming. You need to make an informed start. Very, very important. And business of agriculture is very good and it's lucrative. So I really want people to embrace it as a business because that's the only thing left for us to do in Nigeria. And that's only business that we can use to create a lot of jobs. And when you look at the vegetation of Africa and Nigeria, it's the only business we can do without not spending a lot of money because we have good vegetation and we have a population. So there's nothing you produce that you won't get a market for. And for me, when you are processing or when you are adding value, there's what we call traceability. So let's package our food in a way that everybody would like to eat and everybody would like to taste your products. So if your packaging is good, your food is affordable and it's good. So you don't need to look for too much markets. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Famaniji. Let's have the last comments by Ms. Hadiza.
Okay, thank you. My last comment will take this perspective. Farming can be lucrative. I didn't say farming is lucrative, right? Farming can be lucrative because it depends on what you make out of it. If you know your onion very well, you will certainly succeed. But if you don't go by the rules of the game, certainly you wouldn't win the game. And I think one of the things I've seen over time is people don't like to read. We have the internet, we have our smartphones, but we're so lazy to read that we just want to be spoon-fed. I think farmers should leverage online. There are a lot of apps, there are a lot of materials for farmers to read, and of course, make a very good business venture, and try to ask the right questions and try to implement what you're being taught. Don't be lazy about it. So let's try to read, let's try to ask the right questions, look for successful farmers, try to see if you can do a replication of what they've done. So farming can be lucrative, not farming is lucrative. You have to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic, fantastic panelists. Thank you. Can we give them some emojis? Can we appreciate them? Can we give them a round of applause? Let's see all those reactions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very exciting session, very informative, very energetic. We're grateful. I see a lot of people trying to connect online. People are sharing emails and all of that, phone contacts. I would once again like to reiterate that we will not be held liable. So please be warned, be careful. If you want to connect with anyone, please do your due diligence so that you're sure that you're connecting with, people who would really provide support to you. But it's good to know that people are interested in collaborating. So that's fantastic. On this note, I would like to end the panel session, but we will still have to take the presentation from the PSAG Secretariat. Dr. Morris Atoki, unfortunately, will not be able to join us again. She's having technical issues from her end. So her presentation will be taken by Mr. David Ekugum. So we're going to be taking that presentation, but before that, we'll just take a short break. Once again, thank you so much, Famakola Adeniji and Ms. Hadiza Yaro. We wish you success, more success. You're already successful. We wish you more success in all your endeavors. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll go on a short break. Since I'm not getting the interlude online, can we please cue in the presentation for Dr. Atoki? I would like to confirm if Mr. David Ekungum is online. Could you please unmute and confirm that you're online, you're ready?
Yes, good morning, Mrs. Booming. I am online.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're glad to have you. We're going to be taking your presentation. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be taking Dr. Morris Atoki's presentation, which will be taken by Mr. David Ekugum from the PSAG Secretariat. Thank you very much for joining us. We're glad that at least we will not be missing on this very important keynote address. Can we have the presentation online, please? Let's keep the comments going on Facebook. We've seen YouTube participants are increasing in number. We're excited about that. Facebook participants as well. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so yeah, Mr. David Ekungum is ready. Can we have his presentation on, please? Or would you like to share from your end?
I'm not sure it will be necessary because I will just speak to what Dr. Morris has sent already. Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, esteemed guests. Cluster. Well, this is the PSAG cluster 5 or cluster 3, rather, I believe. I would just like to first start by saying greetings from the PSAG, and I welcome you all once again, esteemed guests, and mostly farmers from across the country. And I think when I joined earlier, I heard that there were people joining in from outside the country as well. At least I heard something about Pakistan, which is quite interesting. So I greet everyone. I would like to start by expressing my gratitude for your presence here today. I stand, or well, in this case, I sit before you, not in my individual capacity, but as a representative of Dr. Morris Atoki, who unfortunately couldn't join us on this call due to unforeseen internet issues. She's tried to join a number of times and couldn't make it. Dr. Morris deeply values this occasion and prepared a few words that she wished to share with you all. In her stead, I will be conveying our thoughts and sentiments. As you can see, the speech is up here already, so please bear with me as I try to speak in her words. And remember that in the spirit of collaboration and understanding, I'll just move ahead without further ado. So now just assume that you are listening to Dr. Morris, but in a man's voice. Okay, it's with great pleasure and excitement that I extend my warmest greetings to all of you attending this esteemed Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3.0. So first and foremost, I wish to express my deepest appreciation to the organizers, the Private Sector Advisory Group Nigeria, for bringing together a group of passionate individuals devoted to enriching their knowledge and expertise in the realm of agriculture and business. Your commitment to furthering your understanding of this vital industry is truly commendable. It is heartening to witness such a gathering of passionate individuals who are potential agribusiness entrepreneurs and investors committed to driving the growth in this vital sector. Agriculture stands as the backbone of our economy, fostering sustainability, job creation, and economic resilience. The lifeblood of our societies, a sector with immense potential for growth, sustainability, and positive change. Understanding value chains in agriculture is crucial for various reasons, as it offers key insights into a full spectrum of business activities, including supply chain optimization, efficient production process, goods distribution, marketing, and waste reduction. These value chains, such as agro-production, crop production, agrotechnology, agro-logistics, agro-financing, aquaculture, agro-processing, and value addition are fundamental for achieving efficiency, resilience, competitiveness, sustainability, and growth within the agricultural industry. Your presence in this masterclass reflects your dedication to harnessing this potential and driving innovation within the agricultural business landscape, and readiness to explore innovative strategies and implement them in your agricultural business pursuits. I applaud your initiative and determination to invest in your education and skills. I am confident that the knowledge and insights gained during this masterclass will serve as a powerful catalyst for your growth and success in the agricultural business landscape. May this masterclass be a beacon of knowledge, illuminating your path towards successful and sustainable agricultural ventures. Your proactive engagement in this educational journey demonstrates your drive to make a real difference in the world of agriculture. Thank you for allowing me to share this moment of enthusiasm and growth with you all. Here's to a transformative and enriching masterclass that propels you towards a future of success, innovation, and positive change in this agricultural business arena. As you embark on this enlightening experience, I extend my heartfelt best wishes. Dr. Morris Atoki, Chief Executive Officer, Africa Business Coalition for Health. Just to point out that Dr. Atoki also sits on the Private Sector Advisory a group of Nigeria as the head of the working group and the secretariat. And as I earlier said, she extends her deepest apologies for being unable to join Technology can sometimes be unpredictable, just as the weather is. So thank you very much for this very great time with you all, and all the best in your ventures.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. David Ekugum. Thank you very much for standing in for Dr. Toki. She had, she was with us earlier, so we're glad that the presentation could still be made on her behalf. Thank you very much. I'm going to, by the way, one of the participants said you did not acknowledge the potential agripreneurs in your presentation. So just to let you know that some people who have not ventured into the sector, who are planning to do so, who are right here with us. They're obviously.
If I may, I am one as well. So yes, to all potential agripreneurs, I say all the best to us all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm sure that participant is happy now. Okay, so on this very exciting note, we would like to end this session. I'd like to express our gratitude to all our participants, those on Zoom, those on Facebook, those on YouTube. Thank you very much for your active participation, your questions, your comments. They've been very engaging and very enriching. Thank you so much. I'd also like to extend our sincere appreciation to our esteemed special guests. I can see even Mrs. Mahmoud is still online. Some of our special guests are still online. Thank you so much. We're so excited for your presence and your support. Thank you also to our esteemed panelists. Thank you, Fama Niji. Thank you, Fama Hadiza. Thank you for setting the tone for this masterclass. It's been an exciting time. I would also like to conclude by encouraging all of us to continue to explore the topic. Let's continue to explore the issues, the ideas that we have learned from this session. In closing, I would want to express my heartfelt gratitude also. Of course, we're supposed to say a big thank you to PSAG for the Nigeria 5 cluster for giving us this platform, giving us this opportunity to have this masterclass, to thousands of people all over the world. We would like to say a very big thank you to them. So I would officially like to end this session. Let's stay tuned. We're going to have a short break. The next session is at 12, so we'll be taking a short break. But before I hand over to Tosin, I'd just like to tease us by letting us know that we're going to be starting the first value chain session. So for people who have been asking comments about what do I do, what steps should I take, someone asked what he or she could, benefit, how he or she could benefit from the program even after this masterclass. I would encourage you to stay on. I'm sure by the time we're done on day 3, you will know precisely what to do and where the opportunities lie. So I would like to, the next session will be on farming, which is the first value chain session. It's going to be on farming fresh greens for your dreams. Farming fresh greens for your dreams. That's on vegetable farming. It's going to be starting at 12. And then we have 2 distinguished experts that will be taking the session. Farmer Samson Ogbole, who is into hydroponics, and then Farmer Lawrence Mayowa Kundayo, so those are distinguished panelists. And then we also have a second session in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Innovate and Cultivate. Tech Opportunities in Agriculture, coming up at 2 p.m. by Femi Adekoya, who is the founder and managing director of Integrated Aerial Precision and Precision Field Academy. On that note, and then of course the moderator will be Mr. Stanley Yechi, who is the Senior Programs Officer, New Nigeria Foundation. So I hope that I have given you a taste of the pudding, and I hope that your appetite is whet. So please don't log out, stay tuned, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you all. I've really enjoyed myself. I've learned a lot of things as well. And we look forward to everyone taking up action, on taking steps to ensure that we do something. Let's not leave just at talking. Let's also begin to take action even after this. Thank you very much. Over to you, Tosin. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Please let's give it up for Mrs. Bumi Olatunde in the comment section of the box, whether we're on YouTube or Facebook. Please let's give it up for her. Thumbs up and hands of applause. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Our special guests, and to David, please send warm regards to Dr. Morris Atoki. Would have loved to have her on, but thank you also for ably representing her. Like Mrs. Olatunde mentioned, the next session will be at 12 noon. So you can quickly take maybe a toilet break, grab something to eat, and we'll be back at 12 noon. Later on, we're going to be having a session on tech opportunities in agriculture, innovate and cultivate. The future of work is fast evolving. So I'm sure we all want to make sure that, we are not left behind. So we wish you a lovely short break, and when it's 12, we'd expect you to be back. Please share the links with your colleagues, with your loved ones, with your, I wouldn't say enemies, but please try and join at 12 noon. Thank you very much, and see you later.
There's a story to be told, a future to behold. There is more to who we are than what they. We have love within our soul, fire in our bones. We've got everything it takes to make it here. There's much more within our soil, more than just our oil. We can grow the food to feed the whole world square. Agriculture is the key. There's treasure in the trees. The time is now. The land is green. Wealth is here. This is our nation. This is our land. Nigeria is ours. We have everything we need. We see the time is now. The land is green. Wealth is here. There are 200 million dreams, and it's able to begin us back and change the world. See no face in everywhere, from Mama to Ife. To now the land is great, the world is. Yeah, this is our nation, this is our land. It's hard, we have everything. We see the time is now, where the world is. If you take a look around, from the north to south, there are opportunities to make it care. All you ever dream is to go overseas. Tell me how you ever know how to share. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria. See, the time is now. So pass on the time. Nigeria is ours. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours. everything we got. We could only see the time down the landing grid where this here. There's a story to be told, a future to behold. There is more to who we are than what they see. We have love within our soul, fire in our bones. We've got everything it takes to make it here. There's much more within our soil, more than just our oil. We can grow the food to feed the whole world spread. Agriculture is the key. There's treasure in it. The time is now, the land is free, and wealth is here. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours, we have everything we need. If we could only see, the time is now, the land is free, the world is here. There are 200 million dreams, and it's able to begin us back and change the world. Innovation everywhere, from our back to it. God, you never let this way the world see. This is our nation, this is our land. Is ours. We have everything we need. We see the time is now, where the world is. If you take a look around, from the north to south, there are opportunities to make it here. What you ever dream is to go overseas. Tell me how you'll ever know the realities, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria, we have everything we need. See, the time is now, the land is free. If we could only see this is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours, we have everything we got. We could only see the time down the